Hey guys, what up? It's your boy Khan TDK, Mr. So Real, and in today's video I am going to be going over the Underground. This is the paid DLC for The Division. I know a lot of people are on the fence about it. Some people are curious if they should fork over the 15 bucks or if they should fork over the 40 bucks for the season pass. Is it really worth the money? Are you thinking about coming back to the Division to play it if it's good? Well, in today's video I'm going to give you the honest and real answer about the Underground DLC. In the video I'll be going over what is good, what is bad, missed opportunities, and my final verdict on this DLC. So strap up, get ready, let's do it. So in this video we are only going to be talking about the Underground. We are not going to be talking about the Incursion. I know that the Incursion is included in this DLC, but I really wanted to focus on the Underground, which is what a lot of people are most curious about. Now the Incursion, I've heard many good things about, but I haven't really had a chance to play with it with my fire team and group of guys that I usually play with, and I didn't really feel like judging it on my experience with only random people. So until I really get a good sense of how the Incursion flows and play it with people that I know are geared, and then also play it with people randomly, I can't really say positive or negative about it, so just hold off on that. But the Underground, I have had a lot of experience with it and leveled up through it, so I want to talk to you guys about that. Now, if you don't know what the Underground is a randomly generated level kind of dungeon crawl where you take a train, you go into this dungeony area, you go in, you have some objectives that they want you to do. You can add different modifiers on them to make it more challenging, and you can also set the challenge difficulty from anywhere between normal, hard, challenging, and heroic. And depending on what you set it to, that kind of determines what the gear score number for the drops will be. And these missions are kind of, as I said, randomly generated. They have set pieces that are kind of shuffled and mixed about, and then you just run through them and kill whoever is down there. It can be the cleaners, it can be the rioters, it could be the LMB, it could be, you know, whatever. So that's all that is. So when we start this review, let's get into what is good. Now, the good things that I found with playing this was initially the initial play. When you first play it for the first couple of hours is really good. It's really fun and it's refreshing to run through the dungeons and do different things and have these little missions and that little pulse thing stopping your skills, and it's fun. It's really something good, and I really liked having these new places to explore, even though they, you know, kind of all look the same, but I'll get around to that later. The next thing that I found really enjoyable about it was the music. The music was probably one of my favorite things actually about this DLC. It really had a good sense of atmosphere. It was kind of like these old 80s horror kind of action movies from, you know, like way back when you know, watch those old things on TV. It was really cool. It had this really good sense of kind of immersion that puts you in this feeling that you know you were in this dark, creepy place, and it was just a really nice feeling. The music was really enjoyable, and the club level that you first go through, the music in the club was so good. I just wanted to stay there for the whole time. I wish that they had more kind of music-y music, not just the atmosphere stuff, but like actual songs. They kind of played through every now and then, nothing too annoying, but I just wish they had some more of that stuff because the music was really good, and I think the music overall in it is really strong, and probably the strongest kind of audio feel that the game has had. I really recommend you pay attention to the music because I think it's really good. The next thing that I found really, really good and kind of shocking was the matchmaking. I played this game with quite a few random people, and the matchmaking was very, very fast. It was surprisingly fast, and I really did not expect that as soon as you start a mission, within 10 seconds or so, you had a full, squad of people that were eager and ready to get in there and get to business. I found that to be really, really good. And we didn't really have too many people jumping out or, complaining about people who were kind of under-leveled. And I thought that was cool. It was a good overall feeling between the people that were match made. The next thing that I really thought was cool was the collectibles. They have these scattered out collectibles throughout the game or throughout the dungeons. Each dungeon, I think, maybe has one. Sometimes they don't. Little pro tip. If you see a resupply station somewhere within the dungeon, at the beginning of each dungeon there's a resupply, but somewhere in the dungeon, like in the middle or somewhere towards the end part, usually towards the end in the middle anyway, near those resupply stations there's a collectible, and these collectibles you collect to get the kind of, I guess it's like a clothing kind of thing. If you collect all of the collectibles, you get to wear some underground clothing. So you should kind of play and try and grab as many of these collectibles as possible if you like getting into the clothing thing. And I hope to collect all of it and try and mix it into some kind of cons closet in the coming future. Another thing that I think was really, really good about it was the level of detail. The amount of garbage and debris and all of that stuff was really, really good and really well done. And it also added to the sense of immersion along with the music. And the overall feel was just really good. And it felt like this gritty, nasty underground sewer with vermin everywhere that you were sent there to just go and kill. It was really nice. And I think, having a lot of that stuff there was really, really good. The next thing, and probably one of the last things that I'm going to say that was really good about it, was that if you play it on hard or normal, you felt strong. Now, whether this is a good thing, I would say definitely yes, because as many of us know, the Dark Zone is kind of notoriously ridiculously hard, and the NPCs are quite overpowering, and it's really not fun. If you've been a subscriber to this channel, you kind of know that I've really been pushing for the Division to shift gears a bit and try to focus more on having fun and having a fun aspect to the game so that people can actually enjoy it and play it more and more. And I think that playing it on hard, if you're over, I guess, the 220, 230 level, it's pretty easy to kill the guys, and it feels good running through levels with your crew and just destroying everything, and you feel like that badass agent that you saw in all the trailers and videos. So playing it on hard and normal is pretty good, and it feels balanced in a way. Like you want to be a badass, you don't want to have to worry about dying every 2 seconds or having that lag creep up on you and instantly drop your health within seconds. So play it on hard, play it on normal. If you really want to have fun with it and not really think about it, it's kind of like good mindless fun. If you like playing Broforce and stuff like that, just good mindless fun where you just run around and shoot stuff. Play it on hard and normal. You won't be let down in that respect. Okay, now for the bad. Here we go. So there are quite a few things that are not that great about it. Number one, the lag. And I think this is an overall problem with the game, is where you start shooting at something, you don't really see that you're taking damage, and then instantly you've lost more than half of your health. This is a very frequent problem with incursions, with the regular PvE, the PvP, the Dark Zone, all throughout the game. There is a very serious lag problem. And when you start to play the game on harder difficulties like heroic and challenging, you really notice that lag and that half a second or that second or two where you thought you were safe, just to find out that you are about to die, is really annoying and a serious pain in the ass. So the lag is one very big negative that I will say about the underground experience. The next thing that I really didn't like was that when you are in the, I guess it's called the TOC or the TAC or whatever, in that first little area where you choose the mission, it's really annoying when you go into your menu and you try to set your loadout and one of those goofy NPCs just walks into you and it kicks you out of your menu. I know a lot of people may not have experienced it, but I'm sure there are quite a few people who have, and I'm sure every one of them has felt like, what the hell? And it's really, really annoying, and I wish that you could have those guys just kind of walk through you just like other players can walk through you. This is really silly that you get bumped out of your menu, especially if you're changing things around or you get a new piece of gear and you want to play with it and set it up. It's just really annoying. The next thing that I really didn't like about it is that it's extremely grindy. I mean, I know a lot of games like this, they tend to be grindy, but they want you to get to kind of level 20 to, you know, start to unlock more challenging parts and have it so that you can have more phases. I think it's level 20, you get to 2 phases. And the level progression in the beginning from level 1 to probably around level 10 is pretty easy. You could get from 1 to 10 in about I'd say about 2 hours or so. Depends on how fast you run through those levels. But when you start getting from level 10 to level 20 and 20 to 30, it's really grindy and quite time consuming. And that brings us to the next negative. It's really repetitive. There's very little in terms of new things that you will see after about 3 or 4 hours. Yeah, the level might change a little bit, but it kind of comes down to the fundamental problem with the Division is that you're just shooting stuff in the head. I don't mind shooting stuff in the head. I mean, it's a shooting game after all, but I think there needs to be more to it than just shoot it in the head. And that's kind of why if you play it for 3 to 4 hours or even more than that, you start to get tired of it and you really feel like, I want to take a break. Not that I need to take a break, I just want to take a break. So the next thing that I really didn't like about it is the load screens. There are so many load screens. I mean, how many load screens do you really need? If you start at the beginning of playing the game, first you load into the game, then you have to, you know, kind of go into the base, and then you have another load, and then you go down the stairs and there's a load, and you get into an elevator, there's a load, and then you select the mission that you want to do, you get on the train, there's a load. I mean, there's loading screens everywhere, and it's kind of annoying. The next thing is that challenging and heroic are pretty damn hard. They're really, annoyingly hard, and when you start to get a little bit overwhelmed and you can't really judge where things are coming from, sure, it is a challenge, but it is a challenge that if someone dies on your team, then you're kind of in a bad position, because if there are more than one shotgunners running around and you didn't really anticipate that, you probably will get screwed, and then the whole thing is a wipe. So challenging and heroic are quite hard, and they're very, very punishing. So be sure to, you know, kind of keep an eye out for that. It is not nearly as much fun as hard, but yeah, that's just kind of how the game goes. It's really bullet spongy and kind of annoying. One kind of tip that I can give you, I was running around with sentries and a faster firing shotgun, and it almost felt like that player was necessary. It almost felt like you had to have one of those guys running around putting the sentry's mark on somebody just so that the rest of the team could burn down the NPCs, because they were so bullet spongy. especially in the heroic and challenging mode missions. Now, there are a couple of other little annoyances. I don't know if these are just bugs, but one of them is the ladder bug. They talked about the ladder bug in the last State of the Game that they did. And at that time, I'm a PS4 player, so I had no idea what they were talking about. But it happened at least twice in the games that I played with people, one of which who I was on mics with, who I know very well, and another with a guy who wasn't on mic, and he could not communicate that he was stuck in the bug. And we eventually finished the mission and just had to kick him, and I don't know if he got his rewards or not, but that kind of sucked. So if you don't know what that is, if you run to the ladder or while you're on the ladder or something like that, you basically get stuck and you can't access your menu and you can't get out. Basically, you have to get kicked or kind of turn off your machine. It's a really nasty bug, and it's something that I hope gets fixed very, very soon because, quite frankly, it's game breaking. The other thing that I really didn't like was that once I was with a team and we were playing challenging, and it ended up being a wipe, and for some reason the guys were leaving and I was dead and I could not leave. I was the last person to attempt to leave, but I wasn't the host, and my corpse was just stuck there. There was no way to get out outside of logging out just to log back in, which meant more loading screens, and we already know how I feel about that. So those are the two major kind of annoyances that I had with the Underground experience. Missed opportunities. It just feels like the Underground could have been so much more to what players really need to keep playing this game, and it seems like they really didn't cater any of that to it. And these are my suggestions for what I feel like should have been done with the Underground DLC. And you can agree with me or disagree. I'd like to hear your comment, so please leave a comment in the comment section if you agree with this, if you don't agree with this. But this is what I think, and this is my little short list of things that I feel like were missed opportunities. The number one is arcade style play. I think that having the NPCs really, really difficult on challenging and heroic not necessarily was the best idea. I think there was a better way that they could have hidden the better loot. And I think arcade style play would have been a much better idea. Having some kind of point system where you maybe have a leaderboard and people try to get high scores and stuff like that with a time limit or something like that would have been really, really cool. And it just feels like that was a bit of a missed opportunity. There is a section a couple times where you have to do something in a required amount of time, but there's no score, and the time length is pretty long, and I don't really know if, there's a punishment if you don't make it in time. Maybe you wipe, but most of the time when we got that, we cleared it pretty easy and it wasn't a huge problem. So if it was a little bit more arcadey with a score point system, I think that would have been really, really good. Now with that score system, they could have emphasized skill kills. They could have emphasized things like style. So maybe if you do a roll and then as soon as you roll, you get a headshot, something like that, maybe you get bonus points, something like that to, kind of increase the score, to make people play it a certain way. That would have been a bit more fun. And then that way the challenge would have been more on player skill and players doing things that are fun and cool, as opposed to just sitting around taking cover and trying not to die in the matter of seconds that happens for the more difficult things. Just have the NPCs at a base level, and then just, tell people if you want to get this level of item or weapon, then you need to finish it with this score in this amount of time, and then you could, set it that way. I think that would have been a lot more fun. The other thing is that the objectives that you set, the kind of modifiers, they make it more difficult. So things like taking away your radar, or making it so that when you use one skill, you can't use any more skills. They're both on cooldown. Things like that are all fine, fun, and well and good. But I really would have liked to see some kind of modifiers like double damage for pistols, double damage for sniper rifles, double damage for shotguns, double damage for ARs, double damage for, the weapons, all of the weapons. That would have been nice to have something like that. Another thing could have been another modifier, maybe if an enemy is shocked, they take more damage while they're in the shocked animation. When an enemy is on fire, they take more damage while they're in the fire animation. This would kind of push people to use shock turrets and flashbangs and fire turrets to kind of get some of the harder enemies down and, get more points while they're at it. Another thing they could have done in the modifiers would say maybe headshots are worth, double the points. Or they could have said headshots are worth 0 points. That way, we're always so used to just shooting things in the head. If we had to shoot somewhere else to get more points, it would kind of switch it up and add a little bit more variety to it, along with the variety of having the dungeons and being in these new places. That would have made it just a bit more fun, in my opinion. So these are some of the things that I think were a little bit of a kind of dropping of the ball, missed opportunity. I think that the Underground really should have been more of an arcadey type experience that people can just go in, have fun, play around with it, do some cool stuff, get some pretty decent gear, and enjoy doing things that are fun to get the gear. And yeah, that's not what you get when you pay for, this DLC. The final verdict. Oh man, this is, it's not a very difficult final verdict. But what I will say is that if you like the game and if you want to stay competitive in the game, you need to buy the DLC. You need to buy this DLC because this is one of the only ways that you can get the new gear sets. And the other thing is that when you reach rank 40 in the Underground, you can actually buy 268 gear set blueprints. Yep, you got to get to rank 40 in the Underground and then you can buy some of those gear sets. I haven't heard anybody talking about that, but then again, I haven't been watching the other streamers who have been talking about it because I wanted to keep this fresh and be able to give you guys an honest opinion from someone who is just playing it for the first time. So if you really want to stay with the Division and if you really want to stay competitive in it and kind of be on the same level as people as the game progresses, you need to buy it. Is it worth $15 and is it fun and kind of something that would make you want to come back to the Division 4? I would say no. Honestly, I think that for the $15 that you spend on it, you get one incursion and you get some kind of mindless filler that is very, very repetitive. And I think most people will play it maybe with their friends for a couple of days, and then eventually they'll get tired of it, and then they probably won't play it again if they don't really like the core Division gameplay. And that's really what it is. It just boils down to the gameplay. If you're happy with just shooting things in the head and running around, picking up a couple of collectibles, getting some gear, and basically having to challenge yourself in the challenge or heroic difficulties, which are, again, as I said, quite hard, then it's up to you to make that decision. But is it really, really, really worth it? In my opinion, I kind of have to say no, it's not. I really wish that it was more arcadey and had more fun. If it had those arcadey aspects with different modifiers and different things to just kind of make it interesting every time you played, I think it would be really a lot better and much more worth it because you could sink a lot of time into it and just have fun. But alas, that is not the case. Should you buy the season pass? Again, this comes down to, do you like the core mechanics? If you like the core mechanics of the game and if you like to just shoot stuff in the head, sure, why not? I'm sure that there'll be a lot more of that stuff going on. If you don't really like it and if you're tired of, doing the same things over and over again, definitely give it a pass. If the dark zone and being harassed in the dark zone and not getting loot that you could, kind of hold on to was your major gripe and you really wanted some easy way to be able to get gear, this is a much better way. But again, the difficulty is still so hard that you really need a decent group of people to play with to get good gear from the challenge and heroic difficulties. But the matchmaking is really fast and it is pretty good. So there is a possibility. But again, it comes down to, do you like the core mechanics or not? So that is all. If you enjoyed this video, remember to hit the like button. If you are new, please remember to subscribe. I try my best to keep it as real as possible. I'm not trying to lie to you guys about any of this stuff. If you have anything you'd like to talk about, any questions you may have that I might have missed, please leave a comment in the comment section. I try my best to get back to each and every one of you in the comments quickly as I can. Right now my mom is visiting, so I'm a little bit busy. Sorry for, kind of missing some days to do videos, but I'm trying my best. So until the next video, this is ConTDK, Mr. So Real. I'm out.